Welcome back to the Viral Crimes with Jocelyn channel, where we bring attention to cases that deserve awareness, you guys, respect, discussion, and a place in the public's memory. So tonight we are discussing the life and tragic death of 18-year-old Taleah Lowe. Taleah Lowe was a first-year college student. She had recently stepped into a new season of her life, leaving her hometown, beginning college, and meeting new people. But on the night of October 14th, 2021, a visit to a Lake Michigan beach ended with an emergency call reporting a swimmer in distress. Again, I started this series, Friend or Foe. So hours later, Taleah was gone. This is happening way too much. I wonder why now Taleah, her case didn't get that nationwide publicity. I've never heard of this case before. So let me show you a picture of this beautiful, beautiful young girl. There she is. So authorities investigated and eventually ruled her death an accidental drowning. But Taleah's family raised a painful and understandable question. How did a young woman who reportedly could not swim? She feared the water, you guys. Now, this is the biggest part to this. Not only did she fear the water, she had a disability. Her mobility in one of her arms was off. She could not raise her arm to full length. She could not hold it out like this. So why would someone who could not swim, feared the water, and had a disability decide to go swimming? Let's talk about it, you guys. So these are the questions that were raised by the family, because no one knows her better than her family. So tonight, we're not just here to manufacture a deletion mystery. We are not here to accuse unnamed students without evidence. It's all alleged at this point. We are here to just examine what has been confirmed, what Taleah's family has said, and what authorities concluded, and what remains unclear in the public available records. So that's what we're doing today. We're just going down this, we're going over this case, bringing awareness to this situation, because this is happening too often. And we cannot allow these victims or these accidents be forgotten. So please keep your comments respectful. Taleah was not simply a case. She was someone's daughter. She was a granddaughter, cousin, and she was a student and a young woman who life did matter. So who was this beautiful, beautiful young girl? Taleah Lowe, she was 18 years old, and she came from South Haven, Michigan. She came from South Haven, Michigan, a community located along Lake Michigan. So let's take this, for her to come from a place that's surrounded by nothing but water, she would know whether or not she could swim and whether or not she felt comfortable going. So in the fall of 2021, Taleah was beginning her freshman year at Grand Valley State University. Let me come back up here so we can be in each other's face while we talk about this, because this is really important. The university later described her as a first-year student from South Haven. So think about what the stage of her life represents. She is just graduated from high school. She is excited about life. At 18, you're technically an adult. Well, you think you are, but you're still learning how to navigate independence. You may be living away from your family for the first time of your life. You're just getting your footing in life. You're building new friendships. You're deciding who to trust and well, that is the problem. That's the problem right there, you guys. It's trust no one. So don't even try to figure out who you can trust. Trust no one. Reports about the case state that Taleah lived with a partial paralyzed or limited mobility in her left arm. Just let that sink in. Limited mobility in her left arm. So therefore, there's no way she could have swum. And she knew that, okay? Her family says she could not raise that arm above approximately chest level. Okay. So this is as far as she went with this arm. So how was she going to paddle back in? She couldn't do it. They believe this limitation would have affected her ability to swim and save herself in water. Her relatives also said that Taleah did not know how to swim and was petrified of water, as I am as well. I cannot swim. I'm going to have life jackets on. I don't care if listen, I need to put a life jacket on in my own swimming pool. So I understand her fear. And why would someone with that fear decide to go out into Lake Michigan? Now let's keep going because it gets even stranger. So here, let's go down here. Her grandmother loved this girl, She said from the moment she went off to college, grandma cried. So here's her and her grandmother. So she had friends, family that loved her, that stood by her. Again, here's Lake Michigan. This is where she decided, this is where they allegedly stated she decided to go. This was it, okay? So let's get back into this, guys. So now the details became central to the family's questions. Not because a person who cannot swim could never enter water. Because, some people are brave enough that can't swim, that may get on a boat and may fall over. It happens. But because they believe entering Lake Michigan at night would have been completely inconsistent with Taleah's established behavior. And nobody knows her like her family. Now, mind you, she's new to this university. She just met these people. These people don't know her and she don't know them. She's building these relationships. So her grandmother, Shirley, says she has specifically warned her about the lake and the possibility of drowning during one of their final conversations. Now that's very eerie. That conversation would become haunting after she passes to her grandmother. That's so concerning. Okay. So let me ask you guys, have you ever known someone who enjoyed visiting a beach, but would never actually enter the water? I do. I enjoy going to the beach and I will sit right there at the edge and I will let my feet get wet, but I am not pressing on forward because I know riptides. I'm just not doing it. I'm not crazy because I know anything can happen and I can't even swim in a teaspoon of water. So wouldn't be me. So Taleah grew up close to Lake Michigan. Her family argument was not that she had never seen a large body of water. It was almost the opposite. This is what I'm saying. This is where she lived. They believed she understood how dangerous the lake could be. Let me make sure you guys can hear me. Let me just do a little check. Yes, you can hear me. Okay, you guys. So Lake Michigan may look peaceful from the shore. Here it goes. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Look at Lake Michigan. But its waves and its currents can become deadly. A person does not need to be far from land to become overwhelmed. We went on vacation. I can't remember where we were. It was my husband and I and a few of our friends. Look how beautiful she was. And I'm not a swimmer and my husband is not a swimmer. Okay. But for some reason, my husband felt the need to act like he was on Baywatch and went so far out that I could not see him. It's like a little tiny portion of him. But he did make it back. And I asked him, I said, why would you do that? But he kept saying, I could feel the bottom. What does that mean? It just takes one wave to knock you off your feet. See, I don't live dangerous like that. Not me. I sat there and I told him it's not a good idea, but everybody's grown. Everybody's grown, you guys. So when Taleah entered Grand Valley State University, she began meeting people her family did not necessarily know well. Public records have described the people at the beach as other GVSU students, and in some reportings as new groups of friends. So they're all new. They're all freshmen. They're all are there and away from home, and they're building these connections. I get it. That does not mean those individuals harmed her. Now, we're not saying that. We're just raising questions right now. We're just asking questions. We just want to know, can we unravel something right from the point where we realized that she had that limited mobility in her left eye, instantly told me something is not right. And I don't need to be an investigator. I don't need to be an FBI agent. And I don't need to be a psychology major. When something ain't right, it just is not right, you guys. So, but from her family's perspective, that created uncertainty. And it very much so. I sent my daughter off to college, told her, don't trust nobody. You don't know these people. You don't know none of these people. If something happens while your child is with a new group, you may not know how close they truly were, who suggested the outing, whether alcohol was involved, whether anyone was pressured. We don't know. What happened in the minutes before the emergency, whether every witness gave the same account. It's a lot. This case closed too fast. This happened in 2021. I haven't heard of it. If you heard of it, chat, drop a one in the chat box. Let me know if you heard of this Taleaha Lowe case, another young woman that went out with some friends, never made it home. This is part of my series. This is actually number 3, part 3 to the series, Friend or Foe. We're just showing our young people, this is about awareness that this happens, and it happens too often. So the public reporting that I review does not provide verified answers to all of our questions. So it is also important to correct something circulating online. We don't know. There's a lot of things out there on TikTok. It's all alleged. It's all allegedly, you guys. So like I said, we're just here to try to see if we can come up with some answers. So several creators refer to the student as Taleah's Caucasian friends. Some social media posts make that characterization, but the official reports reviewed here do not publicly identify the students by name or establish their race. Now, I don't understand why we cannot know their names. They're 18. They're not children. Why are their names being redacted? I don't get it. I searched high and low. I was able to come up with a picture. Not sure, but this picture was on a reputable news channel. Let me see. Where did I put that at? This is what I did find. This is on several news reporting channels. So these are the 2 young ladies that allegedly she went out to Lake Michigan at night. Okay, now let's say this again. She's afraid of water. She cannot swim. She has limited mobility in her left arm. She can only raise it chest level. But she decided to go swimming at night with 2 girls, allegedly, that she just met. Doesn't sound right to me. It just doesn't. I'm going to get into I did find something I'm going to play briefly. It's going to regurgitate a lot of stuff that I've already said. Maybe there's something in there that I didn't. I didn't listen to the whole video, but we're going to listen to parts of it as we continue to break this case down slowly. I know I tend to talk a little fast. I'm a New Yorker. I'm working on that, you guys. I am working on that. So let's get into this case right here. What I also did was I went into, I noticed when this sort of thing happens, a lot of time you can't even find their social media pages. I looked and I searched high and low. I came across, let me see, what did I come across? I'm going to Windows Capture. Let me delete this. I came across her. She did have a Facebook page. It had 1 picture on there. She also had an Instagram. They must have took it down. She only had that 1 picture on there as well. So let me see. Hold on, y'all. Which was this that I just pulled up. That was her Facebook page. And then she had, let me see. She also had a TikTok page that had just I don't know if the social media pages go and they delete this stuff, or how do they pick and choose. But everyone that I've done, whether it was the Reese girl, hers was taken down, they're removed. I don't know why. So hold on, let's try to find her. We're gonna look again. Hold on, you guys. That was her Facebook page. I'm trying to find. Let me see if this is it. There we go. Hold on, y'all. Okay, here we go. Let me blow this up a little bit. Let me see how I can do this so we can. Yeah, I'll put myself in the corner smaller, you guys. Because, hold on. Okay, here we go. So let's watch this. Let me blow this up.
Taleah Lowe. Never forget, I covered this story on the original.
Okay, here we go.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's cook. Okay, people, we have a never forget story right here. We're going to talk about the black child, Taleah Lowe. Never forget, I covered this story on the original Runaway Slave channel, and I think that black content creators should continue to cover this Taleah Lowe situation, which is very unfortunate. Now, this happened in the year of 2021, but we still need these reminders. Taleah Lowe, 18 years of age, very smart young black woman. Her family and friends loved her, they adored her. They describe her as silly, funny, smart, amazing personality. Everybody who knew Taleah loved her, they say. Now, Taleah was doing her thing. She was doing well in life, okay? She was a freshman at...
Now, I'm going to say this again. Give a shout out to this young man, his channel. He's covering a lot of this. But before we get, it's extremely important for us to do the trigger warning and the Fair Use Act, because this channel is about education and awareness and building a community that's going to stand with me as we get these cases out, as we make our young people and our older people more vigilant, keeping their eyes open. And that's what it's all about. You cannot no longer go through life with rose petal glasses on if you want to see another day. This world is getting ugly. Like I say on this channel, something is not right in this world today. And if you're not part of the Viral Crimes family, it may just be you. So please, you guys, like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Turn on your notifications so you never miss a live from your girl. And also, please help me reach 20K subscribers by mid-August. That is my goal, and I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep pushing this content and make sure that our young people are aware. So let's continue with this young man's video, and also go and support him as well.
Grand Valley State University. Grand Valley State is in Michigan. Now, when she was at Grand Valley State University, she became friendly with a few white girls. These girls were named Rachel Paulson and Chloe Ward. Now, these white girls that she became friendly with, they don't sound like they were such good people at all.
Racist white people will wait as long as it fucking takes. You hear me? They'll wait as long as it takes to snake you out. So when you're the only black indigenous one in the whole entire group, and all your friends are the white tea motherfuckers.
Listen, you guys, like I said, this has nothing to do with race on this channel. It has nothing to do with race. I just covered Skylar Reese. This has nothing to do with race. These are the stories that I select, but we have to listen to everything. It just is what it is, so that's not what this is about. So I didn't even watch the video, you guys. So let's keep watching and see what this guy is saying.
Hey, that's not a safe thing. It's really not. And let me tell you something. Having fair skin and being the only one that looks like myself in a group full of people that are indigenous and melanated, I've never felt threatened, not once. You hear me? You know how many times I felt threatened or felt like I had to worry about anything? Zero. Because the black indigenous people do not do that snake ass shit. Yes, there is some that do fucked up shit, whatever. That's never race. But like I said, they're not gonna befriend you. If you want it them, you want it them. If you in, you in. Now these white people in the case of Nolan Wells, right here, these white people in the case of Nolan Wells, how is it the only one that goes missing is the melanated man? The melanated young brother. How is he the only one that goes missing? Nobody knows anything? Nah, you white team motherfuckers know exactly what happened to him. Y'all know what the fuck y'all did. Y'all some fucking real bitch ass cowards. Like I said, don't surround yourself with all white tea people if you're the only one of darker skin. You hear me? Because a lot of times they really envy you.
I'm just gonna stop him. It does. Color doesn't make you evil. Your heart makes you evil. So I'm not really feeling everything that he's saying. I understand where he's coming from, but at the end of the day, this happens in all races. It really, really does. Like I said, Skylar Reese was just taken out by two of her best friends, two of her friends that she grew up with. I mean, from the cradle to the grave. That's how close these young ladies were. And she was taken out by those two. So color don't make you evil. Your heart makes you evil. So actually, I'm going to bypass him because I don't agree with what he's saying, and I don't promote this at all on this channel. So let's go. Let's get past him. Okay, you guys, let's go back and see, pick it up from here. I don't play about my channel. These are all young people. Those two young ladies sitting next to her could have met the same demise as Skylar Reese did. Skylar Reese was friends with her friends from the age of 9. 9 years old. And then when they got to high school, they met another girl that they brought into their friend circle. And those two came together and decided to take out their best friend. So what he's talking, I get it. But listen, don't close your eyes. Listen, it can happen to any of us. Let's keep going, you guys.
October 14th, between 10 and 11 o'clock at night, Taleah was invited by her new friends, so-called Rachel Paulson and Chloe Ward, to a place called Pere Marquette Beach in Muskegon, Michigan. Now, this drive to this place would take 30 minutes. It's about a half hour away from campus. So they head out and go there. Now, on the way to this beach, they picked up 2 boys, okay? So it was them and these 2 boys. We don't know their names, people. They all proceed to this beach. This is Lake Michigan, and October is after 10 p.m.
Oh, it's cold, right?
Now, it's also a known fact that Taleah, who is the only black one there, she can't swim. She doesn't like the water. She has a condition.
Okay. So on Thursday, it was Thursday, October the 14th, 2021, Taleah was at Pere Marquette Beach in Muskegon with other students. Okay. So she wasn't the only one there. They were all there together. It's a public beach alongside Lake Michigan. So by the time the emergency unfolded, it was nighttime. Authorities were dispatched at approximately 10:45 or 10:46 p.m. after receiving reports that a swimmer was struggling in water or caught in the current. Now, these currents, these riptides, it's real. But like I said, I hold on to Taleah having that limited mobility in her left arm, her being definitely afraid of water, and her also knowing that she could not swim. So with those facts, whatever. So let's stop and let's consider this, you guys. Some facts that we do know. So this is not allegedly, this part. It was dark. It was Lake Michigan. It wasn't a swimming pool. It was reported by multiple family members that Taleah could not swim. What else we have? We have the left arm having that restricted movement. The water that night, it was reported that the waves were rough and dangerous currents. The currents were dangerous. This is what the news is saying. Okay? Okay. These facts explain why her family could not understand why she would be willing to enter into that water. Allegedly. But we do have public documentation explaining the precise moment she did enter that lake. Did Taleah decide to wade into shallow water. And this is what I was saying about my husband. He went way too far out to the point where I lost eyesight of him. That's how far he was. Where were we? I think we were either I think we were at Myrtle Beach. And let me tell you, those waves, they would hit him and it would bring him back to shore. And then it would take him back. And I was like, listen, you want to play with your life? Not me. Somebody needs to live to tell a story. And it's going to be me because I'm not going out there. I was even afraid. Let me tell you something. We took pictures in the water. It was me and my girlfriends. We were standing right, I kid you not, this is the dirt. And we may have been 3 feet into the water. And a tide came and took one of my girlfriends right off her feet. She could not get up. Every time she would try to get up, the wave came right back in and took her. I couldn't stop laughing because I'm like, yo, just stand up. Come on. We're right here. But that's how quick this can happen. So why would someone, but then again, I told you my husband could not swim, but he made the decision to go out there. It happens, you guys. So was she standing near the edge when a wave knocked her down? I've seen that happen. I cannot lie. I watched it with my own eyes. Did she follow someone else into the water? These are just questions that I'm just asking. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just posing questions that if I was her mother, these are the things that I would be asking. Was she pressured to enter the water? Why is my baby that I know can't swim and she knows she can't swim and then she don't have on a life jacket? No. Did she slip? Were there horse playing around? I don't know, you guys. But some of these questions need to be answered. These are all possibilities. These are not established facts. It's all allegedly. All allegedly. There's no reliable public evidence that I could find showing that she was pushed. There is also no publicly released minute by minute account. We don't know. And, we only know what the young people that were there told us. It was an accident. And basically, we have to live with that and swallow it. But we're going to keep bringing these things up. We're going to keep bringing it up. We're going to keep bringing awareness to this. And we're never going to stop. Okay? So what specific piece of information would help you understand this part of the timeline? Unfortunately, I was not able to find any witness statements, emergency calls, no photographs. There was nothing. It's eerily quiet. That's what's scary. You cannot, and let me tell you, in the news articles that I did find, short and brief. If 2 paragraphs, short and brief. So let's see if this young man was able to find something else out that we did not know. So let's get back over here. If we're having problems with any of the audio or the visual, please just drop a 1 in the chat. I have done some things. I have upgraded some things. So I'm working out these kinks with the visual and it being shown in 4K and all this good stuff. So, if you having issues, please let me know. That's the only way I can figure this out. So let's continue with this video.
And one of her arms that makes this arm partially paralyzed. Taleah does not play around with the water. Her whole family knows that. Anybody that really knows her knows that about her. At 10:48 p.m., there was a 911 call reporting that somebody was struggling against the current in the water. By 1:45, they were pulling Taleah Lowe's lifeless body out of the water. Just like that, you all. And that's the end of the story. They say that she went out there and just drowned. We don't know what happened. But nobody believes this. The Muskegon Police Department recorded this incident as an accident.
I wonder how long it took them to get here. What I could find, it says some reporting, some facts that I did find said that the recovery was like at 1:26 a.m. The call went through, I think it took them maybe 45 minutes to get there. So they already knew what they were going to find. Just is what it is. So imagine what those hours must have been like for everybody involved. At night, rescuers they had limited visibility. They, news reports said that it was hard for them to see. Um, there were waves and winds and currents, and which complicated the search altogether. So I wonder how long it took from the time that they called 911 before the emergency services got there until they were able to find her remains. They did say the water was very, very cold that night. You're talking about Michigan. Did I say Michigan? Yes, in October. Come on now. What did the people with Taleaha do immediately afterwards? That was another question that I had. I wonder what they did. Who first noticed that she was in trouble? Were they good enough swimmers that someone could have helped? Because we know there were multiple people there because the two young ladies stopped and picked up two of their male friends. Now, mind you, this is their first semester in college. They're all 18-year-olders and they don't know each other. I wonder if did anybody attempt to rescue her? Did witnesses point the responders toward? I have so many questions. I can go all of my questions for hours, you guys, because this whole case makes no sense to me. The public summaries do not provide enough details to answer each of our questions. That does not provide, it doesn't prove that there was any misconduct. We don't know. It could very had well been an accident. She could have been taken. She could have been too close to where a wave came in. There's a million possibilities, but it would be nice to have some answers, some closure for her family. You know, can you imagine? Your child. Your child's afraid to take a bath without a life jacket on. She doesn't play about the water. She's disabled, you guys. The young lady was disabled. There was no way that she would have consciously decided to go into this water knowing she had no arm mobility to even swim. She couldn't swim. Even if she wanted to swim, she couldn't. She could not swim. Her arm only went like this. She could not wave her arm above her head. She could not go like this with her arm. So therefore, she could not go like this because her arm stayed here. A lot of questions. And it's unfortunate that we will never get the answers. But we're going to continue to report these cases. This is my series. It's called Friend or Foe. You guys, please tune in. We're going to be finding cases that just got kicked to the wayside. Like I said, this case was in 2021. She did not make national headlines like Nolan Wells did. She didn't make those headlines. So her case was closed, kicked to the wayside. So according to authorities, investigators interviewed witness and reviewed physical, photographic, and video evidence. Right, these are young kids now. They were Snapchatting and taking their videos and doing all of this. Where is all that evidence? They said after the search, Taleah was recovered from Lake Michigan. She was only 18, you guys. She had begun college weeks earlier. This was her first semester. At night, that may have started as an ordinary outing with her family receiving the worst news imaginable. Authorities initially described the incident as a drowning, but her family, they don't believe it. So on October 19th, Grand Valley State University police posted that the police were continuing to investigate her drowning. But we still don't have any answers. There's just no answers. We all know that a drowning can be accidental. It can be. It can result from risky behavior. She didn't seem, from what we're hearing from her family, she didn't seem like a risk taker. So we're going to get back into this video, you guys.
Drowning, that's it. No foul play. The two white girls said that they all got into the water and a riptide came and took Taleah. They said they survived the riptide, but Taleah didn't. People, this story gets even dumber. Doesn't make any sense. These two white girls, Rachel Paulson and Chloe Ward,
Again, I'm going to state on this channel, don't have nothing to do with race. We're just listening to this video for the information that he's given. Because she could have very well been out there with 5 of her black friends and the same thing happened. I'm doing this series, Friends or Foe, and I'm covering all young people. So, again, let's just listen to the information. Put all that other stuff out of your head, out your ears and your head.
packed up Taleah's clothes and took her phone before the police and rescue squads got there. These will be the clothes that she got out of to get in the water and swim. The water that Taleah Lowe, everybody who knows her knows that she doesn't mess with the water. She can't swim. She would not get in the water, and one of her arms is partially paralyzed. Okay? They packed up her clothes and took her phone before the rescue squads and police got there.
Why?
Not done yet, people. One of these white girls named Rachel Paulson that was with her set up a GoFundMe 1 hour after Taleah died. Rachel Paulson, she set up a GoFundMe in Taleah Lowe's memory. They did delete it, but this GoFundMe had already raised about $2,500 before it was taken down. And Taleah Lowe's family said they have no idea where that money went. On this GoFundMe, this girl, Rachel Paulson, wrote, "On the night of October 14, 2021, me and my friends witnessed the passing of Taleah, a beautiful young soul, due to a drowning incident from a current we had all experienced. Anything helps to help make this memorial set for her. Her life was ended too short."
Okay, you guys, let's get into this GoFundMe controversy. That was another issue that the family had. Reporting indicated that an unauthorized GoFundMe fundraiser appeared shortly after Taleah was found. Her family reportedly did not initially recognize or authorize that campaign. So that understandably raised alarms to the family. You know, when a fundraiser appears immediately after a tragedy, and it wasn't the relatives may ask, who created it? Palsy did, allegedly. How did she obtain the funds? Did she get paid? They never saw anything. Where did the money go, you guys? Did the organizer know details before the family did? Because it went up hours afterward, allegedly. Now, according to Fox 17's reporting, the GoFundMe was removed or addressed the campaign and transferred the money to Taleah's family after verifying her identity. An unauthorized fundraiser was made. Some of the money they saw, some of the money they didn't. Why can't GoFundMe figure out who bank account it went into? It went into somebody's bank account. I just don't understand all of this. If somebody accidentally put a $1 million into my bank account, they're gonna find me. So,
And we want to give her the send-off she deserves. That sounds very bizarre to me. Now, one of Taleah's other friends, okay, whom I don't know her name, she called Taleah's phone when she heard that Taleah had passed away, just to make sure, like, is this really true? And when she called Taleah's phone, she didn't get an answer. But the white girls who had Taleah's phone called her back, and they were asking her if she knew Taleah's password. She said she didn't give these girls Taleah's password, but the girls found out the password anyway because it was her birthday. Condolences to the family of Taleah Lowe. This is a real messed up story.
very bad.
This girl didn't get in this water at her own will. She might have been forced into that water. Something definitely happened here, you know. They believe that these boys that they picked up brutalized Taleah, forced her in the water, and the girls were in on it.
Allegedly. There is no proof of what he's saying right here. It's all allegedly. Yeah, so let's keep going.
You know, they can tell that something went on with her body when they viewed it. She was brutalized. You know, her hair was pulled out, all kinds of stuff like that. That's what her family says.
I didn't hear none of that. I
this is
didn't
really
see any
messed
of
up.
that at all.
Don't know what it is. just based off of the time and when they went. Sounds like it could have been one of them satanic rituals. Is October. They're going out here at 10, 11 at night. She drowns at 1 in the morning. Could be something to do with their religion, a satanic ritual, something where they have to move up in the ranks and do something to a body, you know. But I believe that these people definitely did this to her, and they were all in on it because it's just too stupid. The white community that they come from knows what happened. Even black people and people in Taleah's family, they know something happened, but they just can't prove it. There's enough evidence out there. I mean,
I will say there is enough evidence to raise an eyebrow. I will say that there's enough evidence for them to not have closed this case and allowed them to dig a little deeper. They closed the case quick. I mean, fast. Because this happened in October. Hold on. I think was, let me see. Let me get the correct date. I don't want to misspeak. This happened on October 14th. I'm tongue-tied. October 14th, 2021. And on December 17th, 2021, authorities announced that the investigation was complete. We still have like 100 unanswered questions. And guess what? And the news, they wrapped it up. They put a nice little bow on it, and they put it on their files, and that was it. No, we're gonna be talking about all these cases, all these young people that are going through all types of things.
Two girls, like their parents and stuff, they were on social media going hard ignorant. I used to see some of the posts that they made, like real cold and disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? But this is how they deal with black people. You know, lynchings, drownings, nothing new. You know what I mean? It's very common for them to do. Many videos on the old channel, this channel, Tamla Horsford, Elijah Nikki Witherspoon. It goes on and on. It goes on and on. I don't believe that Taleah got in that water willingly. You know, this is really messed up. I believe they tortured her into that water. Another dangerous fact that comes into play when black youth, they go out, black adults even, when they go out and they're the token and stuff like that, where they're amongst white people that are only one they get around white people, they often...
You know, I'll fast forward this. Like I said, this has nothing to do with race. This has to do with a human being who lost her life, and we don't have answers. We don't have answers. So let me skip over that. Let's see.
Taleah Lowe, I seen people, I believe family members, very upset, as they should be. You know, I read some things with them saying they want to go down the street and do a protest in this area in Michigan. It's over.
My thing is, there should be more of a stance to the investigators to dig deeper. You know what I mean? So, because you're protesting on something you don't know, everything is speculations. There's no answers to these questions. You know, accidents does not mean that every question is going to be answered. It may have well been an accident. We don't know. And it just may have well been not an accident. But here's something people often misunderstand. An official finding of accidental death does not mean that investigators can always reconstruct every second of an event. They just can't, okay? You know, they're going off of he said, she said. You know, unfortunately, Taleah is not here to tell the story. So 99.9% of the information that they are getting is from these two girls and their male counterparts. So what they do have and state that is not allegedly is that this was an accident. And it wasn't a homicide. But we can still raise the questions. It's okay to raise these questions. So the evidence may have shown that Taleah entered the water voluntarily. I know a lot of people don't believe that. Once again, I'm going to state it again. She was afraid of water. She could not swim. She was disabled in her left arm. And it was at night. So a video or photograph may have documented part of the event. Witness accounts may have been consistent. The autopsy may have revealed no injuries indicating an assault, okay? But the complete evidence was not reproduced in the brief public reports. There's things we just don't know. I couldn't understand why they couldn't tell us who the names of these two girls. This young fella actually found the names. I couldn't find them. So I'm going to say the names that he said is allegedly. So I think we still have more questions than answers. How did Taleah's, how did she physically enter the water, like knowing how afraid she was of it? And she wasn't so much afraid of the water. She was afraid because she could not do it. She couldn't do it. She just could not do it. So who knew that she was at the beach? Did anybody know? Did she tell somebody? Did they wake her up in the middle of the night? Because this was in the evening hours. This was at night, like 10 o'clock at night. Like, who's going to the beach at 10 o'clock at night? Was she forced to go? Was she pressured to go? What did the witnesses say? All we know is that police reportedly interviewed all the witnesses. Their full statements have been included in some reportings. Like I said, the news media did not cover this. This happened in October 2021. Case was closed in December 2021. So that speaks volumes, you guys. That's huge. That's really big. So how much time passed? Well, we know it was a month of investigation. I wonder if they did a toxicology exam. None of this stuff is out there. Was there alcohol? Was there substances involved? It's just, I don't know. So you guys, all I can say is that Taleah's case also gives us an opportunity to discuss friends or foe, college safety, not being so trusting when you leave home for the first time. These are conversations that we need to have with our children ahead of time. Always tell somebody where you're going. It's the buddy system. I was raised on that. You go together, you lead together. And do not ever separate from your group. Do not enter unfamiliar places, and never assume that you can trust the people you don't know. So large lakes can behave like inland seas. They really, really can. Waves, currents, riptides, all of these things can take down the strongest swimmer. It really, really can. So the fact that Taleah felt comfortable enough to do this is major questions in itself. Just, don't ever pressure no one to get into water. Don't mock that person, and don't be afraid to say no. I'm going to finish this up really quick with this guy.
These people are not breaking their pale Voltron. That's a reactive response. We have to be proactive, because these people didn't start being racist once something happened. I read some stuff where people said, yeah, those people are racist and this and that. Okay, this is why we have to learn not to get in the car with them and go to the water at 10, 11, 1 in the morning. What do you have to see for them to qualify to be a racist? That's the thing. Does this have to happen first? What has to happen? You know what I mean? A lot of times, black people get this other thing confused also with making it out. We think making it out, doing better than certain relatives or other people from the neighborhood or whatever who may be going to jail, doing skid bids, going to state prison, girls getting pregnant and stuff. And, Taleah's going to college. She's doing good. Yeah, but she got to watch out too. That's true. And I'm not just saying just her. I'm talking about in general, people. I'm just using her name because this is an example. I don't know the mindset that her people had about that. But what I'm saying is, just because we go into these situations where it may be college, it may be somewhere positive, if it's white people there, if it's black people there, you have to stay on point, man. Things become very dangerous and tricky and confusing for black people when white people are in the equation, because we just don't know how to act. We don't get it. We don't know our history.
It's when evil people are in the equation. It's evil people. Like I said, this could have happened to any one of our young people, any race, gender. It could have happened to anyone. So after reviewing the reliable reportings, This is what we can responsibly conclude. Taleah was 18 years old. She was from South Haven, attending Grand Valley State University. She visited Pere Marquette Beach with other students on October 14th, 2021. Emergency services received a report that a swimmer was in distress at approximately 10:45 p.m. Taleah was recovered hours later. Her family's questioned how she entered the water because she could not swim. She was afraid of water, and she had this left arm disability. Police did investigate for approximately 2 months and reviewed witness accounts, autopsy findings, photographs, and videos. On December 17th, authorities classified her passing as an accidental drowning, and no charges were made. So we have to just sit with that, ponder on all the information, be aware, speak to our young people, speak to everybody. It don't have to be young, it can be young, old, whoever, black, white, green, yellow, or gray. It doesn't matter. But at the same time, the reporting does not provide the public with detailed second by second account. That's what I don't like. I couldn't find a breakdown anywhere. Normally, when I'm doing these cases, I can find the breakdown on some news channel somewhere. There's nothing about this young lady. It just, I don't understand. How did this happen? And there just is nothing about her. That is where the case stands, not confirmed as a murder, but a devastating accident. Still leaving her family with more questions than answers. So you guys, we're going to wrap this up. Taleah Lowe was more than just the final hours of her life. She truly was. She was a young lady trying to reach her goals. She was in college. She was beginning to build her life. You know, I have young girls who went off to college. They were excited. They couldn't wait to be there. They couldn't wait to get away from mom. You know, and I was excited for them. So to have this poor young lady, let me put her picture back up on the screen, you guys. Let me bring her back up here. Matter of fact, I'm going to get myself off this. Let me bring this down. Because right now this is about her. This ain't about me. Yeah, she was excited. You know, oh my God, can you imagine how excited she was when she was picking out her dorm room? She got her dorm, she got her little pass, you know, got her little bus pass where she can get around the dorms, go to the store, you know, she's meeting her roommate. You know, I can only imagine how excited she was, you know, and to know that she didn't even make it a full semester. So whatever happened at that edge of Lake Michigan that night, Taleah deserved safety. Her family deserved compassion, communication, and opportunity to understand the evidence, you guys. So as we close, please do not turn this into a race issue. That's not what this is. This is a life issue. So for me, the viral crimes community, share Taleah's story with awareness. Share it to promote water safety as well. You know, water is not something to play with, you guys. Share it because a young woman deserved to be remembered as a human being, not reduced to just a headline, rumors, or hashtags. Because that's all you find out there. You know, there's a lot of TikTok videos out there about Taleah, and they're all different, you know, and I don't like to spread false information on the Viral Crimes with Jocelyn channel. So I did my best to try to get the news reportings as much as I could. It was, like I said, it wasn't much out there. So guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the Viral Crimes with Jocelyn channel. So no case should be forgotten, and no family member should be exploited from this. And this family really does need answers, but unfortunately, will they ever get them? Probably not. So we all know when I end, I like to end with a prayer for this family. So we come before you tonight, remembering the life of Taleaha Lowe. Lord, we ask that you comfort her family in the name of Jesus, her loved ones, and every person who continues to carry the pain of losing her. Give them strength during the moment when the questions become overwhelming. Lord, give them the answers. Father, protect our children and young adults as they enter new places, build new friendships, and begin independency, Lord. Give them wisdom to recognize danger, courage to leave unsafe situations, and trust people who will look after them, Lord. I ask you to please continue to bless the Viral Crimes with Jocelyn family. Please give us the right words to say that will make you proud. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. So that's what we have for tonight, you guys. So again, this is about awareness. This is about just protecting one another. Are we our brother's keepers? We are. Even though you may not want to be, but we are. And we have to watch each other's backs. And you guys stick to the buddy system. It works. You know, even if you are in a group of people, bring along somebody that you have a rapport with, that you've known for a long time. You can't always trust them either. Like I said, I just did that case with Skylar Reese. So it's very hard. It's unfortunate, but this is the world that we live in, and something just is not right, you guys. And and if you're not part of the Viral Crimes family, it's you. So please, once again, I'm going to ask you guys to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Turn on your notifications so you never miss a live. You guys be blessed, be safe, and I love you all. Bye-bye.